Friends, hello friends. We are in the studio today. We are interviewing a senior software engineer. His name is Sudarshan, and he has recently got certified in Azure. So we are very happy about his achievements and his accomplishments. And Sudarshan, I have a few questions for you.
Sure.
Uh, could you let us know? Could you let our viewers know a little bit more about what Azure is?
Yeah. uh, Azure is a cloud platform in the modern terminology. In a traditional format, you'd basically have a lot of computers within a network. But in a cloud terminology, Microsoft Azure, what you're today seeing is an end-to-end level of highly distributed computing, which you can undertake in any part of the world while sitting in one particular location. Now, Azure is in term itself is a very broader definition of what cloud might be, because it could take you from anywhere from your basic level of desktop computers to your any kind of virtualized machines, your VMware solutions, and so forth. With Azure, what you can achieve is a broader version of your infrastructure into the globalized world of whatever, including your disaster recovery solutions and or being able to implement your custom solutions and being able to manage the traffic loads, being able to manage your solutions in any different formats in any different languages and so forth. That gives you an abstract definition of what Azure is.
Why should why should a software engineer or a computer scientist or someone who's wanting to enter the computer industry, why should he get Azure certified? What are the prerequisites and what are the job prospects?
Azure certification is definitely helpful from a developer standpoint of view or an architect standpoint of view, because the next level of jobs that are going to be evolving are through the cloud. That could be anywhere from data science to machine learning to basic level of programming to putting your infrastructure on your organization to the next level on the cloud. All those jobs are evolving through the cloud. So you are interconnected. You have your IoT devices, your the tablets, your laptops, all of these are cloud computed. So from that standpoint of view, getting certified in one public cloud is a good thought process for evolving or putting your technology roadmap for an organization or for one individual self to be in the next set of evolving technologies.
So, how much time did you spend on
6 months.
learning for the course?
It took me 6 months to read through. There is a lot of exercise, there's a lot of books, there is a lot of YouTube videos, there's a lot of Microsoft Channel 9 videos. There are a lot of study material out there, but the definition of 70-534 is whatever questions they are going to ask you, the pattern of questions are already defined in the Microsoft website, and you should be able to take a look into that and be able to answer a few questions. It's pretty much the pattern of what they're going to ask is defined, but what type of questions are simply something that you'll have to go through a lot of study materials, prior exams, if you can see some of the take some mock exams and so forth. That's just about how you get there.
And how many hours did you spend per day?
2 hours a day. A few might be through YouTube videos, as I said. A few you have to take some exams. You can buy online exams from Microsoft recommended sites. There are a lot of sites like that.
Okay, and was there a book which you read?
Yes, Microsoft has all certification books. It is 70-534. It's a green colored book. Honestly, I don't remember the way how it looks, but yeah.
Okay. Could you tell us more about Azure as a platform as a service?
So, see, today, let's take an example of an organization trying to move towards the cloud. Now, what are the parameters to move towards the cloud? A, their infrastructure has to be moved. B, if they already have an infrastructure and they just want to move a cost-effective solution wherein they can do a high-level processing, they can do depends upon a scenario, like if there is medical data, if there is pharmaceutical data, there is high level of computing involved, and you just want to move one layer of your technology into Azure. For the platform of a service, what it does is it lays a foundation of what software you probably need in your solution, along with what operating system you might need as an IaaS, and along with a container level abstraction which it gives you to further your solution. On top of it, whatever subscription you take, it gives you a higher degree of computing power in the global world.
Nice. How do you deploy Azure as software as a service?
Azure deployments are modeled on the globalized cloud. It all depends upon your subscription. There are a few steps you'll have to undertake. You might have your local environment, you might have your production environment. Depends on where you have configured your subscription and what zone you want to deploy and how do you want to go about doing the disaster recovery. Deployments are very simple. You can do a virtual machine deployment, which is your IaaS solution. You can do a custom solution, which is just a one-click deployment from your Visual Studio based on your subscription. You can just and your GitHub, you should be able to deploy it directly. You can configure OneDrive solutions to deploy. So there are several steps to do it.
So, how many questions are there in the Azure exam?
That depends upon Azure certification. The pass mark is 700, and sometimes it does raise to 800 if I'm not wrong. But the questions for me was 50.
Okay. And okay, so you have to get at least 700 out of 1,000.
Yeah.
And there are 50 questions. So, what are the multiple choice questions or subjective?
There are multiple choice questions. There are questions in which you might have to take a series of steps to, for example, how do you go about deploying a virtual machine? How do you enable SSLs for a website? How do you scale up your website in the event of an outage? What are your disaster recovery scenarios? What kind of a virtual machine would you pick up? And what are the steps to deploy the virtual machine? So these are some of the few questions, but they're all part of the chapters that they define. That this will be the chapters from which they'll ask you those questions.
Where do you find more information on getting certified for Azure?
It's Microsoft website. There is no other better channel. But if you want to go for more in-depth understanding, it's channel 9.
Okay. Where do you take the exam?
Exam you can take it in Pearson or any of the Microsoft recommended testing centers. There is online proctoring too. I took it at a Pearson center. You can do online proctoring, Pearson center. I'd recommend doing Pearson center because it's more easier sitting down. They give you a set of they'll give you a few pens, they'll give you markers, they'll give you erasers, they'll give you a whiteboard to basically chalk out whatever you want. So that's just about more easier to be in a center than doing an online proctoring, at least from my standpoint of view.
Thank you. What kind of job opportunities are there, Sudarshan? For, I mean, would it be suitable for an entry level person?
It is. Cloud
And
is
what kind of salaries, what kind of job positions could I apply for?
it's all over the place. From the starting level, from an entry level position, you could technically be working for a startup company which is implementing cloud level solutions. You don't need to know much about the cloud. Like for example, machine learning and data science. Data science with Hadoop cluster or data science with anything that Microsoft can recommend in today's world is kind of a hot picking up job. So those are all cloud level solutions because there needs to be a lot of computing power involved in order to get those solutions done. Might be off premises, it might be on premises, it might be based on live data. Second layer is already you're a computer, you already be a computer software engineer or a programmer, you already been on a job, you've been doing some experience, then the next generation would be the cloud for you to migrate your solutions because that's where your organization might be looking towards. And the third level is a cloud level architect. Now, complex ecosystems, complex organizations, complex architecture solutions. It combined with the risk management solution, combined with your risk management skills, it does broaden out your thinking patterns. It gives you a greater level of leverage over any ecosystem. It allows you to design the best solutions.
So, what kind of salaries could an entry level?
Salaries, I might not be the better judge for it, but yeah, entry level jobs are definitely a lot. These days, the
There are
data
quite a
science,
few.
there are quite a few entry level jobs. Not necessarily it has to be from Azure. From the cloud level perspective, I've seen some people offer you like, hey, would you take up a job wherein all you need to do is talk to a client, customize their infrastructure. You just have to understand their website. It's very generic and very abstract. They just ask you to move a few steps, answer a few questions, and then you're setting up the client's environment. That itself is an architect's job, but it's gone to the entry level job right now. So
Nice. What was the cost? How much did you spend on the exam and the book?
exam is $165. The book was $15. I got it off Amazon. And there are study materials, a million study materials out there. Most of them are free. Channel 9 videos are free. YouTube videos are free. Uh, and then there are some mock exams. Mock exams are kind of expensive. It takes $100. Some of them are $100 exams, which Microsoft recommends. They're based off scenario based. Most of the Azure exams are scenario based. Some of them are abstract questions.
Gotcha. And how would you compare it with AWS?
Definitely, if you ask me, as on a personal note, both of them are catching up with each other. But AWS seems to have had a added advantage of having Java being the prime solution for them. With Azure, everybody assumes that .NET is a prime key driver for Azure.
Hmm.
But AWS is a Java platform. It's a little bit more abstract, but it gives you a broader version of how an enterprise architect can easily think. Although Azure, from a lower level, it just immediately encapsulates on your developer side. If you're a developer, you'll immediately catch on with Azure. AWS, there is a slight learning path, learning curve involved, and
Got
but it's a better solution for the longer run. If you're already part of a huge solution which is out there.
right. But for entry level, you're suggesting
Yeah,
Azure.
yeah. To pick up
Okay.
on cloud, it's easier to pick up on Azure because the terms are very standard,
Right. And easy to understand.
easy to understand.
Okay. Thank you, Sudarshan,
Thank you.
for joining us. And you've been watching Ravi, the cyber weatherman. And hopefully, this will be first one of several in our ongoing job job interviews. And we want to help you guys find a job as soon as possible. Thanks for watching. Bye now.